All right. We have everybody pretty much has their hardware hooked up. Tonight we're going to go ahead and get our joystick working with us. Okay, I'm going to put everybody's hands down. So, first things first, we went through step by step on the Space Invader and got through most of it. Now I want to go ahead and get into the part of changing the hardware so you can go ahead and get your game there. The idea that we'll try to get to asteroids down the road here. All right, now, but let's first just make sure we can get this to work. Make sure you take a box tomorrow, if you haven't already, for lab. All right, you're going to be hooked up to GPIO pin 24 in that ground, all right? And let me put it up here, GPIO 23 in that ground, and this ground right here. And then there's another ground right here, GPIO 24, 25. Now, let me look at my way I've had this hooked up. All right, so we're going to hook up. So look how these two are set up. There's a pin there in between them. These two, notice the white prongs out here. This is how you want it set up. You have it along the side. So let me go ahead and make sure I've got that not quite right there. We want to move this one back down to 25. And we've got this 23 here. All right. So that 25 and that 23 ground. All right. That's how we have it hooked up. Because we got this pin, no pin here at 23, and a pin at 24. So pin at, let me redraw this, ground 18, space 24 to ground. All right, so that's how we have that hooked up there. Then over on this side, we have the yellow lead pick hooked up to GPIO 5. All right, GPIO 6 is the orange lead, then the red lead, then the brown lead, and your ground, whatever color you pick as your ground. All right. So that's the basic layout of this. Now, what we're going to start off with is what we're going to do on this is we're going to go ahead and just get the cat to move once. So I want you to do a joystick walk program here. Let me blow this up so you can see it. All right. Now, there's 5, there's 6, there's 13, there's 19. Those refer to the same pins I had just a second ago. 5, 6, 13, 19, a space, and then the ground. That's what you have to have hooked to make your joystick work. So, here we go. There's GPIO server on, config 5 pin, config 6 on, config 13, 19. All right? Change X by -5, change X by 5, change Y by 5, change Y by -5. First line of code here. Everybody look at this. Wait a minute, I don't have my joystick. I'm sorry. Please go back to GPIO pins pick. Can I get the PDF? I will get that for her. Of this PowerPoint, yes. Can you put it back on? All right, let me show you one more time, guys. Please raise your hand if you have the pins in there. I thought everybody had that in here. Let me go ahead back. If you don't, we'll get it squared away. All right. Your yellow pin is right here. Your orange pin right here. Red. And you may be in between with a breadboard. It depends on how you do it. Same idea though. Brown pin is here. Your ground is here. Raise your hand if you have at least this joystick hooked up. Please raise your hand. I'm going to upload onto the handouts here in a minute. Hang on with me one second. Bear with me one second, I get this. Raise your hand once you have it. I'm going over here to get this. Everybody just requested. Really don't like how come on. There we go. There you go. The Space Invader lesson's going up right now. All right, John, Cooper, let me know what's going on. Where do you connect the white wires to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There's a pin. 8 and 9. Make sure you see how this little white backing is there. Make sure that's on the outside. Just if you have metal on the outside, sometimes you can cause a short. All that will happen is your Raspberry Pi will blink off. You've shorted it. Not those ends. What do you mean not those ends, John? What, it looks like this. Here's how I have mine hooked up. You might have a breadboard in between these two lines, but I've got these hooked up right directly to here, and I have these whites going directly onto the buttons. Does that make sense now, John? John, once you have it, let me know. Trey, let me know. Okay, good. Does it make sense to you now, John? Okay, good. Trey, where are we standing on this, bud? All right, Trey's got his. So, John, we're waiting on you. Does the order you plug the colored wires in the joystick matter? Yes, you have. From the joystick, you have that yellow wire that was originally on there. So the far left of the joystick, maybe I can get a picture of the joystick here. So the far, I'm not still getting it. This far left, the far right, if this is the front of the joystick, we're looking back. On the far left, so turn around, imagine you stand behind this joystick. And the far left is yellow. Then I believe it's orange, red, brown, and then your ground. That could be blue or black. There's the ground. There's your yellow, orange, red, brown. All right, John, we set? All right. Now, let's go back up here. Just looking at our pins. Again, we're GPIO 18. The ground is that first white one, second white one, and here we are. Now, next. So there they are. Hooked up there. Also, if you look at it right here, you can see the white pins are on that row. These other pins are in this row. So we have a picture looking like this. Now, go ahead. You can call this a joystick walk if you'd like, but this is a program. We're going to create a new one and walk our way through this to make sure you understand what you need to do to make the cat go somewhere. All right? All right. Let me go here. All right, so this is a blow up. Everybody, put your hands down. I'm going to ask you at each line of this, you tell me. First thing to do is to create when the flag clicked. So create this part right here. Don't even do the forever loop yet. Okay? So what we should do here, and what I think I'll even do it right now. All right, let's do this. I'm going to duplicate this slide. And on this slide, I'm going to go ahead and format this and crop the image. Okay, this is what I want you to do right here. When clicked, broadcast GPIO server on, config pin 5, config 5 in, config 6 in, config 13 in, config 19 in. These are all inputs. IN stands for input. If you're turning a light on, it's an out. So it's config 5 in, config 6 in, config 13 in, config 19 in with that flag. And then once you get it, all right, raise your hand once you have this bit of code in there. Jane's already on top, but everybody else do the same thing. I have no idea what it means. Is this on the Raspberry Pi? Yes, write this code on your Raspberry Pi. Please do this on you're coding this on your Raspberry Pi. If you don't have your Raspberry Pi running whatever, I will have the video for you. The PDF is out. You can download this right now. This should really, the PDF almost should say Scratch SpaceInvaders Joystick on this third one, but raise your hand once you have it. All right. If you don't have the Raspberry Pi, or you're not going to be able to do it, raise your hand too, because I'm waiting on everybody. I got 3 people that says they're ready to go, and I have several more that aren't. Keyshawn, I haven't heard a word from you, so I don't even know if you're following us or not. Yes, go ahead. You can do it on the computer, but it's not going to work, John, you know, if you're following it that way. So Trey, do you have it? Keyshawn, are you following along?
Yes.
All right. Are you hooking up your Raspberry Pi or no?
Yeah, I already have it hooked up.
All right, raise your hand, okay? Because we're waiting for you, my friend. So make sure you code this in here. Have you coded it in, buddy?
Yes.
All right, then raise your hand. Have you, do you have your set up?
I'm coding it right now.
Okay, we're waiting on you. All right. Okay, folks. The next part of this is going to be a loop, and it's just going to be like press a key. We're going to use our joystick to move around on this. And that's why we're going to add this next bit of code. It'll include what we were doing. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Here's the next slide. You're going to have forever. If GPIO sensor value equals 0, change x by -5. So that's moving it to the left. GPIO sensor value 0, change x by 5. All right? So you need to use the operator, the equal operator, and drop the sensor value in there. Let me show you how you would do this with another sensor. I'll go ahead and bring up Scratch so you can see exactly what we're doing there. While I'm doing this, go ahead and run it, even though it's not going to do anything. That way it finds that you've turned on, it turns on the GPIO server, turns on those pins. Okay? Let me just do create here, it doesn't matter. Okay. You're going to, in this control, we're going to put in a forever loop. And in that forever loop, let's look at our walkthrough here. Wait a minute. Go ahead. We've got if this is true, change x by -5. So we're going to do an if statement. You're going to use operators. Look at me, folks. Everybody looking. Put equals there. All right. This will be 0. It defaults to, these are pull-up resistors, by the way, are included in Raspberry Pi. Defaults that. It might not make sense to you now, but down the road, as you get to learn more programming, electronics, embedded programming, it'll make a little bit more sense. All right, change x by -5. Now, where are you going to get the sense number? Go to sensing. It would be down here, but we don't have, I'm using x.20 here. You're going to go to, you're going to run it, you're going to run, once you have these all here, when you get to the slide here, everybody look up. Make sure you run this once. So the server turns on, these configurations come. Then, when you go to do this, if GPIO, that GPIO 5, just go under sensorings. If you go under sensing, you should see at the bottom some values. They're going to be round. And it's going to have like the slider, it'll say. That's what you're going to go down there, but look down, look closer at them. You should see each one of the pins. Okay? No, it is not on the converted version. That's why you got your Raspberry Pi. That's, in some ways, that's why your Raspberry Pi is more powerful than your computer at home. It has these input-output pins. Hard to believe, huh? I did this, but the cat won't move. All right, well, first of all, Cooper, we got to hang on. We got to get everybody to raise their hands. Were you able to find the GPO5 and drop it in that blue and make it equal to 0? Were you able to do that, Cooper? And did you put this all in a forever loop? Make sure this is in a forever loop. I'm going to go ahead and make another copy. Okay, here we go again. Crop this image. Blowing this up so you can see it a little bit more. All right. Okay, so you've got your forever loop, GP alpha, and then you have some of your pins hooked in incorrectly. This bit of code works. You have GPIO server on. I'm putting everybody's hands on. Does anybody have the cat moving yet? Has hit the green flag again and gotten the cat to move? How many people have got it all coded yet? Raise your hand if you've got it all coded. All right, I only have Cooper and Jaden, so let's get everybody else. Put that in there. Find the GPL. Has everybody found? All right. All right. Jaden. Jaden. Hey, Jaden.
Yeah.
All right. Did you get all this code done on this? So it looks like this. All right. When you run it, what happens?
Oh wait, I actually forgot my stuff there, so I don't have it. So I've actually just been going along
Okay.
and watching it.
All right. There you go. Well, we'll have this. You'll have it tomorrow. Let me ask Cooper what he's doing. All right, Cooper. Hey, Cooper.
Yeah.
Do you have GPIO server on?
Yes.
Got config 5 in?
Yep.
Config 6 in?
Yes.
Config 13 in?
Yes.
GPL config 19 in?
Yes.
And you have GPL 5 right there, correct?
Correct.
So GPL 6, 13, and 19, correct?
Uh-huh.
And your values are all set to 0?
Yep.
And change X by Y. And the cat, when you run it, doesn't do anything, no matter which way you go with your joystick, right?
It doesn't do anything.
Okay, so you have X by -5, X by 5, Y by 5, Y by -5, correct?
Yes.
And it's inside this forever loop, correct?
Yep.
Okay, let's look. What's that?
That wasn't me.
Is it in a forever loop?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go up and look at your hardware setup. All right. How are you hooked from your joystick into your Raspberry Pi? Do you have wires going straight through, or are they on a breadboard?
They're straight through.
All right, great. Now, does this very far right, that's a ground, do you have it on the very end of the pin here?
Yeah.
You sure? It's plugged all the way in.
It may not be plugged all the way in. Let me try that.
Why don't we try that in? Because that sounding, if none of them are working, is sounding an awful lot like you got a problem with the ground.
I rechecked to see if it was something with that, but no, it's not.
Okay, look at the big drawing I have here. So do you have your black pin going in here, your ground going in there, correct? On the other side,
Yeah.
not this pin, but on that side, correct? You have your yellow one up here, correct? Count down.
Wait a minute. I think I figured out what it was. I put them on the wrong side.
I was thinking you might have. All right. let us know once you have that.
Okay.
Because I ran the program last night. I feel pretty good about this working. Yeah, reboot it, John. If the pie screen's blown up real big, reboot it, and it should be okay once you do that. John's saying his screen's real big. How do I fix that?
It's moving.
All right, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you got the joystick. The buttons aren't going to really do anything because obviously we haven't written any code to do anything with the buttons. But your cat should be moving up. Has anybody else gotten their cat?
It's not moving the right way, but it's moving.
Okay, well then you probably either got this code backwards or your pins are in wrong. Okay?
Okay.
Because the first pin, the red, yellow one, is left, and that would move it along the left axis. The second, if you move your joystick to the right, that would change this by 5. That's pin 6. Up is pin 13. Down is pin 19. The way we've set this up, you can set up whatever way you want. All right, let me ask these other people. John, what's up? John, what's up?
My Raspberry Pi screen is blown up really big, and rebooting it didn't work.
Okay, that's a little bit strange to me. Can someone, Cooper, while you're since you've got yours working, can you go up and look real quick on Chrome, Google how to reset it back down to lower resolution? Usually when I boot it back up, that fixes that. So I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, it's not working.
Okay, John, the thing you can do is look it up too. Just go on raspberrypi.org and ask what happens. Okay? John?
Okay.
All right. I can search it, but it's taking everybody off here. Keyshawn, do you have this working? Hey, Keyshawn.
Yeah, it's working.
Is it running around?
Yeah.
All right. So don't sound too enthused. All right. I hope it's working for you. Are you there?
Yeah. As we mentioned before, it's moving, but it's not moving the right way.
Well, I'm not. All right. Do you have it going up and down or left and right? Which way do you have it going?
Left and right.
So left and right is working or not? It's going the opposite way.
Wait, is it supposed to go the opposite way?
No, I mean, okay. When you push the joystick to the right, does the cat go the opposite way of that?
No.
Does it go to the right?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's working then.
I figured out why.
Why? What was wrong?
Because of the -5 and the 5 should be switched around.
At least on yours it should be. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you got it fixed. All right? Good. So you got yours fixed and it's working. Great. And if Cooper, that's what you need to do on yours, go ahead and do that so we just get them to work. Good job. That way to figure it out, Ohm. All right, now. Mine works and it goes in the right direction. Yay, I'm glad to see it. Cooper's got a bunch of things. All right, I'm glad yours is working, Trey. All right, we now know how to do this. We now know we have our joystick working. That's crucial before we go to the next step. So everybody follow me with the next one. We are going to go, we're going to make a copy of our Space Invaders that came with the Scratch Invaders. Call it Scratch Invaders, your name, joystick. Because we're going to go ahead and add a joystick to this. Everybody save, go into Space Invaders, open it up, and save it with like joystick and your name on it. That way you don't have to worry about ruining the original program. It's easy to do. I was messing with mine and left off a piece of code earlier when I was working on this. So make sure you don't mess up with the original. You copy it. Can I get everybody to do that? So open the original, but then save it as the name, Space Invaders, Scratch Space Invaders, Joystick, your first name or something. But save it. And then that's what we're going to work on. We're going to add some code. Raise your hand once you've resaved it with the new name. Raise your hand once you've done it. We're going to make it so your game, you can use your joystick and you're going to be able to fire things. And this is pretty incredible, folks. You're doing both the physical and the programming on a game that, when it originally came out, made millions of dollars. More importantly, you're going to understand all the code associated with this. Raise your hands, guys. We really would like to get on to this next part of this. So please raise your hand. It shouldn't take you this long. Get out of Scratch. Save it as a new name. Let's get going, guys. John, if we can. Jaden, let's do it. All right, excellent. If you don't raise your hand, I've got to wait, okay? We want you to do this. All right, so once you've got your new program and you made it, go under, flag clicked, go right on the stage. So you want to do this in the program where it says stage. Where under flag clicked, we're going to put broadcast GPI server on. Also, don't get rid of broadcast dead. I did that by accident. You can see I left that code in there. Say, oh, leave that on there. But you're going to have broadcast GPIO server on. Add GPIO server there. I made a comment there. I've since fixed it. I put, broadcast dead on there, but there it is. Once you put GPIO server on there, let me know. Raise your hand. Again, raise your hand. We can't go any. I'm waiting up for folks so that way we have it. John, I don't know. When we take it in, that is just very strange to me. Your screen's doing that. I'll look it up here in a minute. Let me figure out why yours is so blown up. All right, folks, you've added that. I'm going to go on to the next part of this. I'm sorry, John. We'll try to figure out. Trey, did you get this on there? We got GPL server on, so we can go to the next part. This way you can be playing. Okay, great. John, I'm sorry about the Keyshawn. If you're going to... Jaden, go ahead, raise your hands if that's what you need to do. All right. Let me know what's going on. All right, you fixed it kind of. Okay, I'm sorry it's taking that. All right, now. All right, now let's look at this. I want you to see how this looks finished. I broke it up into two screens. Under Run Game, if you go down under Player, go to your Player Sprite. This is, I've kind of combined them. This is the finished thing looks like. Look to your left on the screen. Under when I receive Run Game, I'm going to put Broadcast Config 5 in, Broadcast Config 6 in. I add these two broadcast messages, set GPL pins 5 and 6 as inputs. These pins are connected to the left and right of the joystick. First two pins on the left. In other words, yellow and right, yellow, right, oranges. Then, and you really have to run this once. If you don't run this broadcast, it's got like a bug almost. If you don't broadcast this as inputs, when you go to pull the sensor values, it won't have GPIO 5 there. So make sure you run this once, then come down to here and replace the touch right arrow key with GPIO 5 equals 5, then move right. Point direction 9 degrees, move 8 steps, bounce. Replace touch left arrow key with GPIO 6 equals 0, move left. For those people that have it wired differently, obviously you'd switch 5 and 6. Then finally, down here where it says key space over here, what you're going to do is you're going to go to button 24. You're going to have GPIO. You're going to need to add a fourth button up here, broadcast GPIO config 24 in, and set that to the button. Pick either button you want to use. This is going to take a few minutes. Raise your hand once you think you've got it. You should be able to run the program then, and then you should be able to use your joystick and be able to fire lasers. I'm still a joystick and it's not working. Well, John, I think you're gonna have to pull up the PDF because I can't take it off this. The kids won't be able to see it where everybody else is. So I go to that third PDF and go to that, and we can kind of help you out as we need to. So Caden and Trey, do you have it working? I'm going to put everybody's hands down. Caden and Trey, if you got it working, raise your hand up again. Good job, Trey. And we'll see if Caden, if you got it working, put your hand up again. So what, Trey, leave your hand up, Trey. I'll just put your hands down. See, that way I can go up and look. You don't have to worry about putting your hand up. So we got Trey jumped on it. Good job, Trey. And so what this really loves you to do is to do, you now could do different things. You see that and missile active and you could do something where if you're pressing the button and going to the right, it does something special. Or you could add a key command in there. It's kind of a cheat key. We have more power to it. Or you can change the description of what the sprites look like. All kinds of nifty things you can do here. You're raise your hand when other people have it working. Good job, Cooper. See John here, let me get his still. I can't get GPIO 5 600 sensor. What should I do? Rerun it. Hit the flag on. Go ahead and hit the configuration. You've got to run the big green flag and get it to configure it. So hit the green flag at the top right-hand top of the screen. It's got to set up the server and then it's got to configure those things. Does that make sense, Ohm? Then it's your hardware, John. I'll show once I have everybody else. So, Ohm. So you got it to work? Good job. Put those in there. Excellent. John, I would check your ground. I would make sure the pins are on the correct side. It's not exactly, because if it was, the computer would work. I hit the green flag. Green, yes. Got it. Good job. Hit the green flag at the very top, not under player. You've got to make sure you get the whole thing. Make sure you have GPL server on. How are you doing, Keyshawn? All right, John, come on down. Get it working. It's a very cool thing once you get the joystick and you can do anything you want to the game. Then you own it. Now you're really doing programming. When you start manipulating and changing things, and there's nothing wrong with changing one thing and seeing what it does to the game. Is there a lab tomorrow? Yes, there is. I believe there is. Right, folks? Yes, you got an email. Actually, I believe Mr. Maurer sent one up. Make sure you take a box tomorrow. So, Trey, you got yours working, I believe, right off the bat. Keyshawn's working. Yes. Do you have yours working? Do we need the box? What do we need the box for? To put your joystick in and buttons. You're going to make something a console, so that way you can carry this thing around with you. Well, I'll show you your screen. I'm not sure. Can you find the, did it ever set up with the GPIO5? Did you ever find that? Well, I think you don't have the, I wonder, did you ever put this in here? Did you ever put GPO server on at the very top under Space Invaders, that stage? Because you've got to turn the GPIO server on, which is kind of weird how they're doing this, folks, by the way. It's not, by their own admissions, not as nice as maybe we could have done it another way. So, did you do that? I did that. Well, we'll have Mr. Maurer look at it tomorrow with you, but I gotta believe that you're not doing something. You either spelled config in wrong and then you copied it 3 times with it being wrong. Or save everything, get out of the Raspberry Pi, boot it back up, and then run it there. Make sure, though, I can't stress this enough, because if you only do the local flag, it won't work. What I mean by that is, let me show you. Like I can be here and I can run the flag, right? So I can run this bit of program. But you want to make sure you run the big flag so it turns on all the flag blocks. All right, it's now been an hour. It's now 8 o'clock your time. Ready to call it a night on this. We'll play with asteroids. It's a simpler game. You actually more details to it. Good luck. Get your boxes working. Get it working. You all take care now. Bye-bye. I'm leaving this up here a little bit longer for you, John. Bye, I got that. I got the joystick and the buttons working. Very good, John. So, good job, everybody. Well done. Take care, everyone. Good job, John. Bye-bye.